The following is a special presentation of the Retro Sports Spectacular and presented by DigitalDice.com, the best darn podcast on the web for your sports simulation and replay needs. Find us today on Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, or wherever else fine podcasts are listed. And good evening and welcome to the show. My name is Ron Juckett. And today we are going to do the 2023 Indianapolis 500 because part of the things that we do are champions of the present. We did last year on the same day, a little busy the last couple days, but 48 hours later, we will rerun the Indianapolis 500 for you and see if we can get Joseph Newgarden to do what he did in real life. You know, he started in 17th place. That's like the middle of row 6 and won. No red flags here. We're going to run it all the way through. We're going to start by telling you some of the game mechanics. I'm not going to show you any of the charts. This is Motorsport from Owsette Games, Lamborn Games. It's over in England with PDF, and which enables you to run any race where you know the starter, where they started, and where they finished. And it's, you could run NASCAR, you could run Formula One, you could run IndyCar like we're going to run tonight. You could run Can-Am races, you can run motorcycle races. You just need to know what the field was, and the rest is up to you. So, this is an Excel game, no real graphics here, and dice. I'll show you some dice rolls, but again, not going to show you any of the charts because that really does give away the game. So, as they keep singing My Indiana Home, let's get ready, shall we? And I forgot to do one thing here. Everybody starts on grid number 100. That's where we start. So everyone starts on square number 100. Now the field as they were to start the race. And I really think that if you're just looking at this, Ferrucci, who is A.J. Foyt's driver, really, I think, has the best chance to win. We'll get through all the grades and stuff. So the front row, the top 3 drivers, Alex Palou was on the pole. VK was second. Rosenquist was third. In row 2, Ferrucci, Pato O'Ward, and Scott Dixon. Now, the C's you see where they finished means that they crashed. And so there's a decent chance that the drivers in this replay won't finish the race. We'll get to that as we go through. Row number 3 is in pretty good shape. Antonio Rossi, Sato from Japan, and Tony Kanaan in his last Indianapolis 500. He finished 16th in the real race. Ericsson, who won the race last year and got kind of caught up this year in that restart with just the one lap to go under green and was passed by the eventual winner, Newgarden. He starts 10th in the middle of row 4, on the outside of row 4. Peterson and Will Power, my favorite race driving name, Will Power, make up the 4th row, 10, 11, and 12. Row 5, Carpenter, McLaughlin, and what the heck was that? And Kirkwood. Poor Kirkwood was the guy that had his tire fly off his car, and if you watch the replay or watch the race, you saw him go for that slide, thankfully not on his helmet. But that must have been pretty scary to see all those sparks. He will start on the outside of row 5. Row 6, Daly, Joseph Newgarden, and Ryan Hunter-Ray. Row 7, Grosjean, Spider-Man, Helio Castroneves, and Colton Herta. Row number 8, Simon Pagenaud, Malukas, and Marco Andretti. There's always an Andretti in the field here at Indianapolis. Row 9, Di Francisco Canapino, a rookie from Argentina, and Alat. Row 10, Anderson, Legg, and Lundgaard. 2 of them don't finish. And the last row, Sky Rob, rookie year, was in an accident. Harvey and Graham Rahal. Bobby Rahaal's son. So that's the field. We start with everybody in the 11 rows as they come to the green, all on square 100. You get a grade for the first 2 turns. That's the A grade. The B grade is the middle 2 turns, and the C grade is the last 2 turns. The higher the grade, the more you're going to advance, provided you don't get into trouble with pit stalls and other things or crashes. And so that's, you'll see the dice, some of the dice rolls here. So if you see someone with a C next to their number, such as Rosenquist or Pato O'Ward, that means he finished in 24th with a C. Technically, if that white die right there is a 1, and I happen to be rolling for that driver, their driver's race is over immediately. That's what that means. They can be saved. I don't really want to do any crashes the first 4 turns because we didn't have any crashes the first parts of the race. The 2 drivers who are retired, Anderson and Legg, who started 28th and 29th, if they get their 1 roll, they will be retired immediately. So with all that being said, we're going to roll to see how many of these 33 drivers are going to be involved in a possible incident coming off the first turn. Now, so the top row of dice, you see there, the white die tells me if it's a 1, it could be a possible retirement if they retired or crash in the race. A 4 means that I would look at the pit stop chart and then look at the 2 dice together. A 5, nothing ever good happens on a 5 in motorsport. Again, you take the lower dice, put it with a higher dice, read the result, and go from there. A 6 is where good things happen, and then lower dice and higher dice. On the last segment, on the 6th and last segment, we look, if you roll a 4 on the B chart for the 4, which is, did they have enough gas in the tank? So outside of that, I really don't want to talk much more about game mechanics. In the second row, that where you see the red 2, that's an odd or even die, because you can't have a 33-sided die in ball roller. There's 33 cars, and so if it's a 1, its drivers 1 through 20. If it's a 2, its drivers 1 through 13. So that's how we check to see what drivers may or may not be in trouble. With all that being said, that's enough of the game mechanics. Let's get to it. How many drivers are going to be affected on the start of the race? And I roll a 6. 3 cars will be randomly rolled forward to see what happens at the start. And so the first driver is going to be number 5. It's going to be Pato O'Ward, and he rolls a 44. This part I'll show you because just to make it easier. O'Ward, who eventually will crash on a 44. Slight brush with the wall, no apparent damage, but loses momentum, and so he starts at 96. He's going to go all the way back. Driver number 2 is going to be the number 19, Grosjean. He has a very good start. And will get 3 places. So he beats the start, does well. The last driver, number 11, so Peterson. 55, a great start for Peterson. He works well with Grosjean, and they're going to be, as we head into segment 1, leaders of the race. So we only had 5 drivers with things this first time around for the first lap. Everyone else will get their A grades. Rossi works well in the draft and got a 3-point bump. We'll see what that means when we sort out the field in a minute, but he could potentially be leading this Indianapolis 500 after the end of the first segment. Good lap for him. Daly, Connor Daly, another great start. He worked well in the pits and got a bonus with that as well. Canapino got a good boost in his first pit stop. He got a 1-point grade. Leg, the number 29 or 31 or 29 car, she just had a bad first segment, did not pit very well. She is downgraded for won the rest of the race. And Harvey was the last roll before we started rolling doubles. He just ran fine. So that's what happened for action in the first segment. No accidents. The field is through the first segment. We'll sort out the leaders and tell you who they are in a moment. 34 laps in. The first segment of the race is done. Rossi is out by a smidge over Ericsson. Newgarden jumps already to third place. Then Daly, Peterson, Ferrucci, and Dixon 3 spots back. And then a whole gaggle. Grosjean, Sato, Herta, DeFrancisco, Ilott, 4 back. Palou, McLaughlin, Hunter-Ray, Castroneves, Andretti, Canipo, Lundgaard, Harvey. And Award made up some time, but he's still 3 behind Kirkwood in last. That incident where he brushed the wall right into turn 2 just knocked him off, and he's going to have his work cut out for him now. So now we'll see who has incidents in the second segment, and we'll tell you all about those as we almost get through to go with lap 66. This is the last roll for the A grades. Then we'll go to the B grades. But Rossi, by 1 smidgen over Ericsson and Newgarden, Daly, 2 back, Peterson, Ferrucci, and Dixon all hanging in there. A great start at Indy. All right, the segment rules here as we finish lap 66. Newgarden nearly stalled out his car in the pits, but recovered, got out in time, and should be in pretty good shape when we resolve the rest of the scene. But Newgarden had to save a retirement roll just to stay in the race. So that would have changed an awful lot now, wouldn't it? Sato just had a regular roll. Castroneves, a regular roll. Marco Andretti, however, really bore down on that and got an extra point given to him for the title. Tony Kanaan had a great pit stop, got out a little bit early, but Anderson spun out in the grass, was able to keep it there, waited for the thing to go, won't gain any ground, did not lose his spot in the field. He is still running, but it is not good. No progress, and even Award should pass him this time around. So Anderson spins, should be still on the same lap. It's 20 spots per the lead lap, but will be in dead last. We'll sort out the field, and then you'll see him come across to start lap 67, and we'll tell you who's leading. Through lap 67, it is Ericsson and Newgarden, nip and tuck with Rossi just behind. Then Daly, 3 ticks off the pace. Ferrucci and Dixon, 4. Andretti is 5 off the pace. Then the gaggle of Sato, Herta, DeFrancisco, a lot. Then a couple back. Further than that, Peterson, Palou, McLaughlin, Hunter-Ray, Castroneves, Lundgaard, Harvey. Then Grosjean, Canapino, Tony Kanaan really was off to a slow start. Hasn't gotten a lot of help. Carpenter, Pagano, Robb, Graham Rahal has made some moves in this race. He's up 8 spots. Well, Power falls back down. BK, remember who was him and Palou were trading the lead back and forth in the real race. Well, not so much here. Remember, we're basing on how they finish is how their points are assigned, not how they went in the middle of the race. Everyone's still in the field. Award is past Anderson for 33rd or for 32nd. Pato after brushing the wall, still down on speed. Everyone's still on the lead lap, but the margin is 20 to be in the lead lap. Ericsson and Newgarden quickly coming into traffic. And this time by will be at lap number 100. After we do the first, we'll tell you about who had possible incidents, and then we'll come back and tell you how they go through as we go halfway through this 107th running of the Indianapolis 500. All right, the incidents as we get to halfway home. Pato O'Ward crashed his car coming off a turn 3, went sideways in lap 75, and is the first casualty of this 107th Indianapolis 500. He will finish 33rd. So O'Ward, who was a factor in the real race almost all the way to the end, not so lucky. He rolled his one in the third segment, and so he is out. He is going to finish dead last in this year's Indy 500. Marco Andretti, again, for the second time in his 3 chances here, has had a magnificent, absolutely magnificent pit stop. And so he gained 3 on top of what is now B grades. Turns 3 and 4, you're looking at the B grade. It has nothing to do with how good or how bad those letter grades are. It's the early, mid, and end grade. So Andretti, although he won't be leading, he really is making some noise in this Indy 500. Castroneves and Lundgaard didn't do much of anything there. Carpenter had a bad pit stop. Instead of giving his 8-point bump, he loses 3 points in the pits. He's only going to get 5. Rob, again, the rookie who crashed out in real life, fantastic pit stop for the rookie. He gets a couple bonus points. That should get him about halfway through the pack. Rosenquist, again, found a good pit stop, and he gets a 2-point bump for the round. And so we'll do the math for everyone else and then show you where the leaders are as they come across for lap number 100. So as they come across for the 100th lap, Joseph Newgarden barely leads Ericsson. Newgarden just very consistent all the way through. No incidents, just a clean race. Crosses the line first to end the first half of the race. Ericsson just 1 length back. Then Rossi, who finished 5th in the real race. Again, just consistent all the way through. Had that great pit stop in the first segment. He is 3rd. Ferrucci is 4th. AJ Foyt is all smiles in the number 14 pit. Daly is 5th with Andretti. Then 7th is Dixon. And then the rest of the field kind of coming through. No real big surprises. Palou, who finished 10th in the race, again, all consistent. He's going to need some help. Now, we're going to have some lap cars. So anyone you see there that is now 1:15 or lower is now 1 lap down. Kirkwood barely hanging on to the end of that lead lap. Anderson, who remember spun out in segment 2, is now 1 lap down. And O'Ward, his day is done. Poor fellow, he crashed it in lap 75. His second brush, remember he, in the start, brushed the wall coming into turn 2, and then just rough. And so out of the infield care center, didn't really want to talk to reporters, just said he was fine. But right now, Newgarden and Ericsson, who were 1 and 2 in real life, are nip and tuck with 250 miles to go. Incidents, and then we'll tell you what's going on after lap 133. Okay, plenty to talk about here as far as incidents and crashes as we get to lap 133. First, a crash has taken out 2 more of our field here. Malukas and Legg crashed out in lap 115. They were 1 behind the other. Malukas braked a little hard going into 3. Legg was just a little too close. They collided. They're both okay. They'll finish 31st and 32nd, respectively. Now, there has been some action, first with Ferrucci. The vibration that you saw Scott Dixon have in the real race, there's been a couple drivers that have had it. Ferrucci and Rob both took the downgrades there because they are dealing with vibrations in the car so bad that Ferrucci and Rob had to pit twice and will have to take an extra pit stop there. So Ferrucci, his race probably is over. He's going to get a good finish, but is not going to be a top 5 for him. Rob, after 2 good pit stops, the vibration kind of came up through. They're trying to get those Firestones not to rub so hard. It's just not going to work. Sato, I believe that had a fueling problem. The hose got tangled. He lost a lot of time in the pits. In fact, he lost 3 of his 9 points that he loses of those 9. So he will be further back in the pack. DeFrancisco was fine. Alex Palou, by the way, had a very good pit stop. He got an extra bonus point for that. And now, especially with Scott Dixon, by the way, with Sato and Ross and Ferrucci's problems, Palou is going to get out of that 13th position and is looking now for a good chance at a top 10. Will Power just rolled his regular thing. So those are the instants of very busy 33 laps as they're coming out for the pits. When we get to 134, we'll tell you who's ahead. Just 67 laps left in this race. The field spreading out as they cross the line for lap 134. Newgarden. He's going to lead Ericsson the rest of the way. Ericsson's going to have to come back and win this race because Newgarden over the last, now we start the last grade, the C grades, as we only have the 2 segments left. It's a 2-point advantage for each of those. So Ericsson's going to have to hope that something happens to Newgarden or Ericsson can find something in pit lane because Newgarden now has a 2-point lead over Ericsson. Then Rossi. Ferrucci remains in 4th, but again, he is downgraded for the rest of the race. It's not terrible, but he really is not in a position where he can win. Daly is going to pass Ferrucci for 5th the next time around. Marco Andretti is living the life of Riley. He is now 6th with Dixon. Then Herta, DeFrancisco, a lot. Then Castroneves, Harvey. Then Palou is 12th. McLaughlin, Brian Hunter-Ray, Lundgaard, Sato. That stop makes him 16th now. Graham Rahal, who started dead last in a ride he wasn't sure he was going to have, has made the jump up to 17th. Then Kanipo, Tony Kanaan, Grosjean, Rob Peterson, and Simon Pagenaud hanging on the lead lap. And now working through lap traffic with Carpenter, Power, VK, Rosenquist, Kirkwood, and Anderson, all now 1 lap behind. So just 2 segments to go here in the race. And Newgarden is sitting rather pretty unless something happens. But remember, will they be able to go on fuel? That last segment, we're going to be checking to see if anybody who rolls possibly a 4, and you'll see the rolls live right here on Retro Sports Network, they could run out of fuel. How much have they saved? Right now, Newgarden is in very, very good shape to win this race. And we come back because the leader, Joseph Newgarden, has spun on the grass. He will stay in the race, but he has lost his lead to Ericsson, who got a roll, but nothing happened on the roll, so he just took his 9 points. But Newgarden, who was cruising right along in lap 152, found the grass coming off a restart. We'll tell you the other crash in a second. Spun it, got it started, but by the time that he got back in, all 4 wheels on the grass, Ericsson had passed him. And I think that Rossi is about to pass him as well. So Newgarden, who was sitting pretty and was trying to count laps, hoping he would be able to get good fuel mileage, he is in desperate trouble to win this race. Ericsson now is going to be your race leader. Now, we had a crash in lap 149 between Rob and Simon Pagenaud. Rob brake checked a little bit, and Pagenaud ran into his rear end. They both are out of the race now. It'll be, so there are 5 cars out, so there'll only be 28 coming in the last segment. Anything else of note? I believe, Colton Herta had no, that was fine. DeFrancisco had a very good pit stop. He got another extra point. Ryan Hunter-Ray, aggressive driving. He's putting himself in a position where he could get a top 10 out of this right now. I should be writing this stuff down. Will Power had a good pit stop. Rosenquist is having some gearbox trouble. He made a couple extra pits. He moved forward, but he's going to be a lap down. So it'll be 34 laps to go. It'll be 167 when we come through, but we're going to have a new leader, and it's going to be last year's champion, Ericsson with a chance to do it all again. No red flags this time. We'll tell you all about it in a moment. So as we come to the line for lap 167, 28 cars are still in the race. If you're at 135 or better, you're on the lead lap. So cars that have been lapped are going to be Carpenter, Power, VK, Kirkwood, Rosenquist, and Anderson. They're still in the field, but a lap down. The top 5 are going to be Ericsson, Rossi, Newgarden, Ferrucci, and Daly. Dixon, Herda, and DeFrancisco are one back, but they are 8 segments behind. So we will run the top 10. So starting with Hunter Ray in 10th at 145. We're going to do those rolls live. Can't show you the charts. So we're going to look for 3 things here. A 4 is a fuel check. A 5 is a bad pit stop. And a 6 is a great pit stop. But right now, Marcus Ericsson is in great shape to repeat as Indy 500 champion. So let's do this. Hunter Ray, 10 segments behind. He actually will get a good thing here. Hold on. Hunter Ray manages fuel mileage very well. He's going to get his 10 for his end race grade and 1 for fuel mileage, so he's going to get 11. For 156. Now, Andretti did not run great at the end of the race. He's dropping off here. He's going to get passed, I'm sure. He's going to get a base of 7. And, that's going to be a bad thing. So 7, he may drop further down here. Hold on. Hot in traffic, he's only going to lose. So he's going to lose 2, so he's only going to get 5. That lap traffic isn't going to help. Andretti with a good 500. He had a great start, going to finish the race, but not where he wanted to go. Now, DeFrancisco. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8th after the last segment. His roll is going to be just fine. He's going to get his 9 points. And be just slightly ahead of Ryan Hunter-Reay. Now, Connor Herta, has had good luck the rest of the way. He's get 11, so he's going to be 158. Let's see his roll. SpaghettiOs. He's going to have some troubles here. And if you're going to hit the downgrade, that's the time to do it. He's only going to get 9. Some problems with the car late. Going to get some good points out of it, but he's not going to win this Indy 500. Scott Dixon, the old wily veteran, he remember in the real race, he had a whole bunch of vibration trouble. He's going to get a base of 9. Looking for a top 5 finish, but he's going to have some troubles here in the last stage. And he will take the downgrade, but again, the last stage is when to do that, so he's going to get 7. He won't win it, but he will get a good finish. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Now the top 5. Daly. Going to get 9 as a base for 157. Daly. Oh, another one here. What do you mean we were in commercial? We missed the end of the race. I hit pause. I don't know where it was that we're there. So Ferrucci, his vibrations were there. The latter half of the afternoon, he made a very gaming effort to do it. But again, crossed the line in 4th place. Now, Newgarden and Rossi, they were going back and forth over the last 5 laps or so. They both got regular rolls, but they couldn't get close enough to Ericsson to get the pass. Newgarden, after spinning in the segment before, had a very clean last segment, but couldn't quite get past Rossi for 2nd place. He will finish 3rd. Rossi's going to finish 2nd. He finished 5th in the real race. But Ericsson, I can't believe we were in commercial for this. All he had to do was not bin it. and he didn't bin it. He rolled a 1-5-1, and Marcus Ericsson, no red flag, no green and white at the end. He is your Indy 500 champion by one length over a hard-charging Rossi and Newgarden. And now we'll get the rest of the field together. I can't believe you were in commercial for the end of the race. Well, Ericsson's going to kiss the bricks and drink his milk. We'll show you the rest of the field in a moment. So here we are at the end of the race, and once again, the National Broadcasting Company apologizes for being in commercial at the finish of the race. We did roll to see, for those who did not finish the race in real life, if they rolled a 1, we would crash them out. No one rolled a 1, so our attrition was 5 for the race. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars who did not finish in real life did finish the race. So Marcus Ericsson, again, by one length over Rossi in Newgarden. Ferrucci, again, despite the vibrations, finished 4th. So just one there. Herida finished with a top 5 finish. He finished 9th in the real race, just ahead of DeFrancesco, who finished 13th. And the old Wiley veterans, Ryan Hunter-Reay and Scott Dixon, good performances. Sato, a very strong car at the end, but finished 11 segments down. Then Alot and Helio did better than 15th. He finished 11th. Daly, Andretti, Harvey, McLaughlin, and Lundgaard in that next group. And then Palou, man, if he really hadn't been hitting the real pits, that was his race to lose on Sunday. The game really didn't show just how strong that car was. How about Graham Rahal? 17th place and finishes on the same lap. The last car in the lead lap was Canapino. Those from 144 back did not finish on the lead lap. Tony Kanaan, Peterson, Grosjean, Carpenter, Power, Kirkwood, thankfully didn't end up on his head, VK, Rosenquist, and Anderson, who somehow survived the race. So there you have it. Marcus Ericsson, the repeat winner of the Indy 500 in close fashion. Now, what you missed because I'd had the thing paused was all he had to do was not roll a 5 for that in the ball roller with the white die, and the race was going to be his, or run out of fuel. He did not get a fuel roll, and he drove the last 33 lengths clean, and that did it. Rossi and Newgarden, they couldn't do anything with their rules to upset the balance. That Newgarden spin in the 5th segment cost him the race. So Marcus Ericsson is your winner. I know it's an Excel game and it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but I just kind of hope that you got in the sense of the excitement of what it's like to run one of these races. We will be using Motorsport again. I got a couple of things planned, but if there is a race you want to see, let me know, and we'll put it in the pile the next time we do this on the Retro Sports Spectacular. So, the 2023 Indy 500 is in the books. No red flag needed for Ericsson. He is your repeat champion. Thank you so much. I'm Ron Juckett. Good night for the Retro Sports Spectacular.